Well, how far would you go to find a home for a puppy? One Western New York man is not only going the distance, but he's taking the word rescue to new heights.
He's a pilot, and he spends his time flying across the country with some very special passengers. News 4's Jen Shantz went along on a recent flight. Jen?
Well, Don and Jackie, Dan Drennan loves to fly, and he also loves dogs. So when he was approached by some local rescue organizations, he didn't think twice. The flight I accompanied him on was to Sutton, West Virginia. Now, the South tends to struggle more with providing safe homes for dogs, so he's taken his efforts across the country. A rescue day for Dan Drennan always starts early. He's up with the sun, and this time he let us tag along. Off to Sutton, West Virginia in Braxton County. We're preparing for a full passenger load, but not the kind you might think.
Mostly puppies today. The heaviest one is about 30 pounds.
That's right, puppies. Dan flies with the Western New York Pilots Club, but when he's making rescue flights like this, it's for Pilots and Paws, a nonprofit that matches pilots like him to rescues that need a hand. Today's mission, bringing more than a dozen puppies back to Western New York to find homes.
Once they're vetted and everything, they'll be ready for adoption.
Once we land, it's off to the Braxton County Animal Shelter, where shelter attendant Julie Covert has the passengers ready for flight. She's also from Western New York. Recently, the Hamburg native felt a calling.
I moved down here specifically to rescue more dogs. I started dabbling in walking dogs for the SPCA up in Buffalo, and then transporting once in a while, and then transporting more and more. And I decided to sell my business and my home and move down here just to rescue more dogs.
In just a few hours, Julie took in about 6 strays, something she says is typical in a day. Julie's shelter takes in about 100 dogs every month, but she's only able to adopt out a few locally. The rest rely on people like Dan to find them homes. Julie says rescuing is her purpose, but it's not an easy one.
You do the best you can. Everybody does the best they can. And there's a lot of counties that don't have a shelter at all, or an animal control officer at all. And sometimes dogs from other counties filter in here as well.
The hard reality, she says, is that you can't save them all.
It's difficult. Sometimes you have to pick and choose.
That's where people like Dan come in.
Dan has been a godsend. I transport to Buffalo myself about every 2 weeks. To have Dan supplement that transport, it has just been wonderful.
Ready to get his eager passengers on board, it's time to head back to the airfield. Dan will fly up to 500 miles for a rescue. He's been everywhere from Texas to Kentucky to Ohio to collect passengers. With a few missions a week, he's rescued about 500 dogs. Once this group is loaded up, we're off, back to Lancaster to meet the rescues.
Weather permitting, Dan flies when he can. This is, I think, probably the 5th or 6th time we've had him fly up for us.
Julie Mang has been working with Dan for about a year. She's the president of Buddy's Second Chance Rescue. She takes the pups Dan flies and finds them forever homes here.
All the dogs we bring up end up finding homes eventually.
All of Dan's flying is done on a volunteer basis.
It gives me a place to go, and it's for a really good cause. These guys all come from very high kill shelters, and their outlook is not good.
He admits during the flight he often gets attached to his passengers, but he says he's always thinking about the next mission.
There's always more. You want to get attached and all that, but there's more dogs that need rides.
These pups are all off to find forever homes, and Dan is now preparing for his next mission. Interested in helping out? He always welcomes an extra flight crew.
You want to go along? We'll go.
Now, Dan has also flown for the Erie County SPCA, and he says what he loves about this is he really doesn't have to do much thinking. They tell him where he needs to go, he flies, and he gets puppies as passengers for the whole ride.
Those puppies were cute as a button. Where are they now?
They're in homes all across Western New York. Most of them are in forever homes, and I actually was just tweeted an adorable photo from a viewer of a dog dressed up in its Halloween costume who was actually rescued from this trip, and they're happy that they now have a permanent member of their family.
But in the future, if someone wants one of these dogs, what should they do, Jen?
They should contact one of those rescues. You can contact Buddy's Second Chance Rescue or Open Arms of Western New York, and you can also contact Dan. He's pretty public on his Facebook.
Yeah.
He says, hey, if you have dogs that need help, call me. I'd love to fly. I'll be there.
What an awesome guy.